special one today. The time has started. We've got our hour of mental therapy. We're actually live right now. We are upstairs at the Margate School in Margate, in what was the old Woolworths, in this right cool building.
It's a lovely building, isn't it, mate?
It is a cool building. And we are here because we've got a room full of amazing art, headed up by our friend Annabelle Losa.
Hello, Annabelle.
Right? Yeah. She invited us along to do a live podcast. It's our very, very first live podcast, so we're quite excited. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, everyone's just munching around.
Everyone's not as excited as you, Nick.
They're as excited as me. I sound excited.
I am. I'm excited. Well, I'm excited now this is all working because it's taken about a month to get it all up and running. But
yeah. I've just been on the phone. I've just been on the phone to BBC Kent Radio.
Yeah,
and they've been just kind of telling them all about our show.
Sorry, Nick, I was talking over then. Who have you been talking to?
BBC Kent.
The BBC?
Yes.
Ah.
I was just on a panel show with BBC Kent. Very exciting.
So Annabelle's just come to sit down with us. If you're listening,
Annabelle's joining in. Oh, yeah, you're welcome to join in, of course.
If you're listening on the podcast, expect loads of bangs and noises and stuff like that as we try and move people around and stuff. And obviously there's people looking around at the lovely art today, which is nice. Just move that microphone into the middle of you, so if you want to talk, just obviously lean in.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of guests.
We have. Who are our guests, Nick?
We have got Victoria, who is my second cousin. I think we worked out. Yeah. So the Hogbans tend to come from Kent, from Canterbury,
really?
which is where I went to university. So some of the Hogbans have come down to support us today, and I asked Vicki if she wanted to be on it.
Do you know anything about the lineage of the Hogbans, like your family history? Word. Were you like
no, not really.
Like kings and queens and stuff?
No, I don't think
I suppose not
so.
many people do, really, do they? It's a bit of a silly question.
Yeah, I guess I'm not all that bothered about it.
Well, it don't matter, does it?
I'm always just bothered about whatever's
the
in my
important
hands
ones are here today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Annabelle's also joined us as well.
Yay!
Yay!
Margate rocks.
Thank you for...
I like Margate, you know.
I love it.
It's
I've been bowling about, dishing out flyers, and quite like it.
I've ever been here, and I've never ever been here. I know the song by Chaz and Dave, obviously. Yes. It's my favourite band.
Yeah.
But I've never been, and I really like it.
You need to come back now.
I will. I'll come back all the bloody time. I will. I promise.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it.
I'd live here.
Yeah, I think maybe I would.
In this room.
Yeah, this is an old Woolworths, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it looks like a theatre or something. So it's all stripped back just to describe it for everyone listening to the podcast. They probably don't really give a fuck what it looks like, but it's basically like a really cool art space. Pulled back brick walls, floors, and we're surrounded by some amazing art. So what's actually going on today, Annabelle? If you want, hold that mic if you want.
Oh my God.
Nick, take it off the stand.
I'll hold it between us.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, technical difficulties. Normally we've like full-time set up in Nick's cave, and it's very rare we leave Nick's cave, although we did for Fred and Temple Morris.
Never allowed
that. Share a mic.
Oh, we share a mic. Okay, so why are we here and what we're doing? So my name's Annabelle Losa. Woo! And I'm an artist, and we've started a new company called Squirrel Arts. And basically we curate shows, art shows, and get involved in community projects and blah, 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 do lots of really cool stuff. So the Margate Art School was originally Woolworths building, and now it's an independent liberal art school running MA courses, which is awesome for Margate.
Amazing.
And we are super lucky to be able to have nicked this space for the next 2 weeks. And the artwork is breathtaking here. There's a real pick-a-mix, diverse range. You need to come down. And if you come down today, you'll get a cake, which is pretty awesome.
I haven't had a cake yet. Have you had a cake?
Yeah, I don't really like cake.
Oh, I'll have your one.
Like cake?
No, not really.
Well, we've got some crisps.
I don't eat a lot. I don't really eat like savoury stuff.
Have a crisp.
Yeah, I might later.
All right.
So, just you've kind of been talking about calm quite a bit.
Yeah, so with Squirrel Arts, we're quite passionate about wanting to be involved within, talking about mental health, the issues that surround that. And Calm are a charity that specifically focus on male mental health and male suicide, which is on the rise, which is very upsetting. So we as artists are trying to support them in donating what's the word? A percentage, that's the word, of any sales that we make. So you need to buy our art so we can support Calm. But Brad and Nick, what they're doing about talking about mental health and many different issues is something that I feel quite passionately about, but also what the company School of Arts wants to kind of drive forward. And, giving artists a way to speak out about it and to get involved. So,
yeah, it all kind of fits.
I'm being told to stick the microphone in my mouth.
Yeah, so you can be
Brilliant.
a bit louder for
Okay.
That's all right.
I am a bit like Minnie Mouse, so sorry.
Just put it right up in there like that.
I've been on the helium, yeah.
That sounds good.
I just think quite often, I know for me, art is very, very therapeutic. My drawings are dark as hell, and it's almost like I let out all my anger onto the page. And I think quite often artists are often more sensitive than others. I might be wrong, but that's often my take on it. Is that artists are often quite sensitive to the world around them. And thus prone to being miserable like me.
Is that because they tend to be more open-minded and see the world in, like they're trying to look at everything at the same time?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think one of the things as well, Nick, is I think we've spoken before, as artists, it's not really a 9-to-5 job. We are literally pouring our heart and souls into the work that we make. And any kind of negative criticism that we might get, we really take it to heart. And, so we're quite prone to depression. It can be quite soul-destroying if someone says, oh, you've just chucked a load of paint about.
Yeah.
You put a bit of yourself
It's
out
sort of
there.
like, well, I was, that paint took a lot of effort, actually.
It's true, it's really personal, isn't it? And if someone disses it, it really hurts. I always struggle when people say nice things about my drawings, because it just feels really alien, it doesn't feel real. And I was like, well, I just think I don't really kind of rate it.
It's
like, well, I kind of pulled it off.
Yeah, it's quite difficult because it's personal sometimes. Sometimes you don't expect a compliment or a comment even. You just do it because you have this kind of inner need to draw or, to sculpt or whatever you're, where it is you're creating. It
satisfies that need in you.
Yes, that inner need to scribble.
But that's about balance, isn't it? You need to, your life needs to have loads of different things to balance it out to kind of keep you happy. And often, a creative outlet is a really important part of that balance. And for a lot of people, but not for everyone, obviously. But
Yeah.
I find it important. So, what made you kind of get involved in mental health then? If you had your
I think to be absolutely, honest is, I struggle. I suffer with clinical depression, have done for years. Struggled a lot at college. I went to art school with Nick, actually. And I think we both, were fighting demons back then. And I keep being told to shove the microphone in my mouth. It's just, I don't want to. So I think that's, and Margate has gone through so much change. When I was a teenager, kind of growing up here, it was you left school, you got pregnant or went on the dole. That was it, really. There really wasn't much of a choice. Luckily, I failed at everything at school, but art was my one thing that I was good at. And I couldn't get into college because I didn't have any GCSEs or anything. So I just kept making portfolios and just kept bugging them and got the council involved to give me a bursary and was just kept knocking on doors basically.
Good for you.
So yeah, crazy. But yeah, I've lost my track now where I was going.
Sorry.
But yeah, mental health. Yeah, so I think that's my main reason, and I think it's it's something that we all are going to struggle with at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
And I think not enough is being done in talking about it. It's still that very boxed in a shamed thing, and it really shouldn't be. We should be able to, and like, you know, Brad and Nick do, talk about it in quite a candid manner, which is, you know, we can joke about it. Why not? Why can't we?
It needs to be joked about, I think.
Yeah, it kind of normalises it, and if you're kind of like having a bit of a laugh about it, it takes the edge off of it, I think. The fact that your brain's like attacking you all the time. Because I have that. So, Vic, tell us about you. What's your experiences with mental health?
So mine are kind of varied. So I suffered with a lot of low mood. I guess I'd hesitate to call it depression, like really, but as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think that was just finding myself, you know, like kind of growing up and being like, where do I belong? And kind of moving between friendship groups, you know, the really tricky things when you're young, right? But that was kind of all manageable. But then when I was in my just finished my first year of uni, so like 20, I was just on the bus one day, feeling great, going over to Canterbury for like a few drinks with a friend, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I thought I was going to die. Like my throat, like felt like it was tightening up. Wow. I lost feeling in my face and my hands, and I was like, "What is this?" It was terrifying. And then it kind of went, and then it came back, and in the end, my friend called 111 because she was like, I was like, something's wrong. Yeah. And they very quickly picked up it was an anxiety attack. Wow. But I'd never had anything like that previously. And then, of course, the anxiety of it happening again made it happen again. Yeah. So suddenly I was having all these physical symptoms. It didn't feel like a mental thing at that point. It just felt like a physical thing.
Yeah, of course.
And then, of course, I was scared to go out, and I was scared to be in the car, and... I think for like 3 months I just didn't really leave the house. Like, my sister tried, like, she drove me literally from our house like 10 minutes, and I was like, I have to get out the car. And she was like, okay. And I was still outside the car, and I was like, I need to get home, but I can't get back in the car. You know, it's mad. Yeah. And I'd never, when people said to me, oh, I'm anxious, or I've got anxiety before, I thought, oh, they worry a lot. Yeah. Because I do worry a lot as well. But I never anticipated it would be like a physical thing. And that's really hard. Because then, of course, then they diagnosed me with health anxiety, because I was saying, well, my throat's closing up and this hurts and that hurts. And they were like, oh, you just have health anxiety. And I was like, but I only have anxiety because these symptoms are happening. Like, it was a really weird chicken and egg situation. Yeah. And so at the time, I hope doctors are better now, but at the time, like, they totally dismissed it. And I would say, can you just give me like a scan on my throat just to show me that this is anxiety and not something like tangible? Yeah. And they're like, no, because it will just feed into your anxiety. Wow. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So, you know, that's a real hard thing to accept, that's just your mind doing that.
Yeah. But it's powerful though, like when it has a physical effect on the body. I had a similar thing, we spoke about it on the podcast before, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say irrational because that almost kind of lessens it, but it's like what you're thinking is completely justified at that moment. Yes. And you can spiral in any direction. Yep. But what you're doing is like, 100%, this is the kind of right, well, not the right, but it kind of self-perpetuates.
Exactly that.
And it can be a bit of a minefield, really. Yeah. So did you... Did you have to like continue? Have you had like continued therapy or medication or anything like that?
Yeah, so they put me on medication at the time, which did help, and I had some CBT, which also was really helpful. And I'd had counselling before, like little bits of dribs and drabs and stuff. So that worked quite well for me. But the medication that they first put me on just had a whole another side that it just didn't work for me. For tons of people it does, but it just didn't sit right with me.
It's worth saying there's a lot of different types, isn't there?
There's a load of different types, and the problem is that was so it was so negative in many ways. It was good in other ways, but things like I couldn't remember. It just blocked off past my memory paths in a weird way. So someone would say to me, "What did you have for dinner last night?" And I'd be like,
complete block.
I don't know. If someone reminded me, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally I did. So it wasn't like a blackout, it was just the path to that memory were kind of...
I know, but then that makes you feel anxious.
Yeah, exactly, because you're like, don't for God's sake, don't ask me what I did this weekend. And then you're in a social situation, people are like, what did you do this weekend? Because it's a polite thing to ask. And I'm like, I don't know. And it wouldn't be all the time, right? But it would be like certain situations. So then I wanted to come off that, so I did. And the anxiety attacks... I just accepted anxiety attacks were part of my daily life, and to a certain extent that's still the case, but a lot less. And then it got to a point where my parents were like, actually, you don't have to accept this. Like, I know you're functioning, but you're not you're not functioning as well or as happily as you could be. Just look at medication again. And I was so set against it for years. I was like, no, I'm not doing it, I'm not going back there. And eventually I went to a doctor, and I got a really lovely doctor, and she was like, okay, listen, this is how all the different anxiety medications work. The one you did before was in this group, this other one I want you to go on is in this group, try it. Oh my God, it's been fantastic.
Oh, brilliant.
Like, it's been amazing. And I get no side effects. I'm on a really small dose, which is all I need, compared to the other one where I was on a quite high dose. And it just keeps everything at bay. Like, I'll still sometimes think myself into an anxiety attack, but, you know, I can live my life much less.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you have completely different experiences with doctors. You know, like initially you were saying the doctor won't do a scan. And some doctors are just like, no. And you just know that it's cash linked. They're not going to spend the money on that. But then you'll see another doctor and they'll do whatever they can.
It's always worth asking. It's always worth asking.
And those kind of experiences really put people off.
So, absolutely.
We're telling people, right, you know, if you're not feeling good, go to the doctors. But then if they go to the doctors and the doctors are like, well, I can't do anything. My doctor was going, well, I can't give you any other medication. And I you know, it was like you said, when your mum said, no, we're not taking it. I'd got to a point when I wasn't taking it, and I said, no, I want a referral to a psychiatrist, and I'm not leaving until you do it. And then they do it. But why does it have to come to that? It really
well, when I was a kid, like my doctor used to just have his eyes closed. He'd be facing forward at the screen or whatever at his desk, writing the thing. It looked like he had his eyes closed like that. He'd go, yeah, what's the matter with you? And he'd go, oh, like feeling, really I think it's like depression.
Impersonal as well,
I'm
isn't it?
feeling this and I'm feeling that and this happened, that happens. And they're like, oh, how's your eating? Like, what's your iron levels like and everything like that? So, well, I don't know, like I eat quite fairly well, I think. And then, all right, keep a food diary and then come back and let us know. And then obviously by that time you might have a few better days and then you just kind of forget about it, and then bang, it sort of happens again. Fast forward 20 years, and now it's only now that I've started therapy again. I've started on fluoxetine, and it's kind of started to level out, and now it's starting to make a lot of sense. But it makes you wonder what it would have been like had I had a different doctor at the time.
You do need a two-pronged approach, though. You know, just by going, oh right, there's meds.
Oh no,
I agree.
Where it came from. So, were you able to kind of understand where that anxiety came from?
To be honest, to this day, I'm still not sure. Like what the chicken or egg thing was, like what made it happen. Honestly, one thing I have realised, which might help other people who have anxiety attacks, is blood sugar. If I can keep my blood sugar steady, I tend to have less anxiety attacks. I don't know if that'll work for everyone.
That's interesting.
But if I have an anxiety attack, because I remember my mum said to me after a couple of years, she was like, it's funny, if you can eat, obviously you don't want to eat because you feel like your throat's really tight. If you can eat, you tend to feel a bit better. And it takes someone else, right, looking at you and saying, that's the pattern there. So now I actually have pretty much cut out sugar because I don't have those spikes in sugar levels. And if I feel an attack coming on and I eat, it will often dissipate.
Wow.
That's
really
It's funny because it's like quite a simple thing, as you say it there, because we are chemicals and water, and you are what you eat, as they say. But like, if someone had come along and said to you, like, during that time, like, oh, you know, sort out your eating or whatever, you probably wouldn't be like, what? Like, it's this or that or anything else. But quite often it is the really simple ideas that's just like, oh.
You don't have to listen to your mind.
No.
You know, it's just real simple little things.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it is all scientific. And for me personally, understanding the science helped a lot. So the CBT guy that I had that made the most headway with me out of everyone literally sat me down and was like, this is exactly what's happening when you feel numbness in your hands. This is exactly the gland that all those chemicals are coming from.
Good.
And then I could rationalise it, because until then it had been like, oh yeah, you've got health anxiety. Well, A, how did it start? And B, why? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, you want to know the why, don't you? Definitely.
And then you can accept it. Because it took me ages to accept it was anxiety. I thought, no, I've definitely got a lump in my throat. No, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and then that causes more anxiety.
I saw a doctor a few years ago, actually, and like you were saying, Brad, you know, this doctor didn't really look me in the face. It was just, didn't, you know, I could have been anyone, didn't really matter. And as I was leaving, she said, you need to eat bananas and drink water. And I was like, wow, okay, I feel suicidal and I'm, you know, struggling, and you're telling me to eat a banana. Brilliant. What's the banana going to do? And, you know, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
It's just, not really, no. It's just kind of like, yeah, this isn't great. I don't want to eat a banana. It's not done nothing. Because you
just
want
a little bit more compassion of like, oh, how have you been feeling? Is there anything going on in your life? Like one simple question might have just triggered you to go, actually, I haven't actually thought about what's going on in my life at the moment, and it'll start to unravel kind of thing, you know.
And to make that step to actually go to the doctor because you
scary,
isn't it?
embarrassed,
don't you? You feel like, you know, I've got. You know, I've not got a cut. I need you to put a plaster on. You know, I don't know how to talk about it. I don't, you know, how to go about it. What, you know, it's difficult.
With a woman, Becky, reached out to me because she was really struggling. And for starters, I'm really pleased to have women on the podcast right now.
Oh, 100%.
That's cool.
I feel like it's always a bit. I don't want it to be male-centric, but yeah. So this woman Becky reached out to me, and I was saying, you need therapy. You know, like that's the only answer. And she was really frightened to access therapy because she thought that would then go to social care and she'd have her kids taken off of her.
That is true, and I've had that fear before, and it is absolutely terrifying. But do you know what? I've had like therapy through doctors and things, and it's never actually really helped me because, you know, they're looking at the clock the whole time, and you're just another number coming through the door. And the only therapy that I've had that's actually really worked is I had hypnotherapy and Reiki. And she got me to do.
I love
I'd
Reiki.
like to.
Oh, it's really cool. It's just, it's lovely. It really is
I'd
cool.
like to give it a go.
And I really want to do it.
Because Peter, who we've had on before, Peter Khan, big up yourself. He's done hypnotherapy on you, and he said it was almost like what I can't remember the term he used. Was it like farted, like a?
Yeah, I felt like I was on acid.
Yeah.
And I just kind of fell through the chair, but I never really felt like I went under massively. But what it did do for me was, it just for like an hour, all the weight was taken off of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you know you're going to do that once a week for a bit, like you can kind of cope with everything else.
Yeah.
Makes a massive difference.
I've done this other thing. You're going to laugh at this. This is funny. I've done sleep yoga, and yes, it is a thing. It's called yoga nidra. And it's really bizarre. So I walked into this room, and there's loads of women there with their towels and everything, all like, laying on the floor. There's like bongs going off in the background, and like the lady said, "Yeah, come in, Annabelle. You know, relax, lay down. We're just gonna. It's fine. You're gonna love it. You're gonna drift off to sleep." And I just thought, oh, this is just a bit trippy. This is weird. I don't know about this. Just going in a room, sleeping with lots of women, and you're telling me to just relax, okay? And do you know what? It was just amazing. They kind of talk very gently. So it's like hypnotherapy, basically. Yeah. But yeah, you do like feel yourself falling asleep.
So you don't need to move or anything?
No,
and they don't move you?
No, just lay there, literally drift off into sleep. I could hear the lady next to me snoring. I was like, well, this is a bit trippy, a bit weird. And then I'm thinking, no, I'm not asleep because I'm having these thoughts. I'm not asleep. But then you hear the bong and you're like, it's like an alarm clock going off. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm awake.
Yeah.
And then truly for the next kind of hour and a half, just felt absolutely incredible. Like I'd had the best sleep of my life. Wow. And it's just sort of like when you say to people, yeah, I've done sleep yoga. That's how cool I am. So yeah, you've got to try it, Nick. You'd love it.
That's the thing. There's so many different things.
There are.
It's just giving it a go and whatever's right at the time and just sussing out what works for you.
And trying to relax into it too, right? Like a bit like you said, you know, if you've got an overactive mind, which often you're going to if you're anxious or depressed, you go into it thinking, like, if I have to lay still and I can't leave the room if I have an anxiety attack, I get anxious. Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to embarrass myself if I walk out? What happens if I have an anxiety attack? So it's trying to, like, quiet your thoughts enough to allow yourself to experience that. Yeah, and that's a real challenge too, isn't it?
Yeah. I find it easier if someone else is doing it for me.
Like, guided.
Yeah. Like I did a transcendental meditation course, which was ridiculously expensive. And I really didn't get a lot out of it because I had moments when I thought it worked, but a lot of the time I just couldn't switch my brain off enough to do it.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying for someone to like guide me through it, I suddenly become really open-minded because it costs me money and things. Yeah. But if I'm doing it at home, I'm like, there's just too much going on and my head's going everywhere. I want to know about your experience of Reiki then.
Yeah, no. As the first time I had it, I couldn't relax properly because I just kept finding myself opening one eye just to see what the lady was actually doing. Yeah. But yeah, you experience. Well, for me, you kind of experience this heat coming off your body.
Did they use the hot stones, or is that something else?
No, that's something else.
They don't actually touch you.
No, they don't touch you.
No.
They
It's
just
something to do with stones, though, right?
no.
Maybe I'm sorry. All right.
So no, you just kind of lay there and close your eyes, just relax. There's usually some gentle music or something playing, and she'll just gently hover her hands. I'm doing the demonstration as well. Yeah. Gently hover her hands kind of over your body, and I mean it's strange. You can feel heat, and you can sometimes feel a tingling happening, and it's strange. The lady who I get my Reiki from is like Catherine. Yeah, big up Catherine.
Hey.
She says she knows where my tension or my problems are because she feels the heat source coming off. And sometimes she can experience my stress after she's done a session. She absorbs it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just really, and yeah, I just feel really relaxed after. I've suffered a lot of, I dislocated my shoulder a year ago, and I've had ongoing issues with it, and I'll sometimes go and see her, not particularly say, "Oh, my shoulder's hurting," but she can feel it. She can kind of feel it. Or if there's lots going on in my head, she'll just go, "Whoa, your head's full packed today. It's busy in there." It's really interesting. And I wasn't somebody who kind of believed in all of that. I think, like a lot of people, you just expect to go to a doctor, get a pill. Yeah. But it all be sorted, but that's actually not the case.
I've really learned over the last year or more that there's so much value in those kind of more kind of new age spiritual stuff that I was always a real cynic, and I've said this loads of times, but I'm not a cynic anymore. I'm not, because it just seems to work, and it is. I suppose it's about opening your mind up.
Yeah.
What's your experience with it then, Vic?
Very similar. So I had, when I was at work, they had like little 10-minute sessions, like taster sessions at lunchtime, which was so like great. And I'm the same as you, like as I already said, like I'm very much like science-based. And so I was like, someone holding their hands on you or like hovering their hands, I don't know, but I'll try it, fine. And I just sat in the chair and I was like, yeah, like whatever. And then as soon as she actually did put her hands on me, on my shoulders. As soon as she did, I felt like a kind of whoosh of like energy, and so freaked myself out, and like the anxiety kicked in and my brain kicked in, and then didn't enjoy it. But the second time, well, not didn't enjoy it, but obviously didn't get the full benefit. And then the second time it was actually my auntie, which was really, and it was in her house, so it was all like really safe, and it was all, and I hadn't been able to sleep because I kept having anxiety attacks when I was trying to sleep, and it'd been like a long weekend. And she was like, just come up for some Reiki. And as I say, I hadn't been able to sleep, but I actually fell asleep while she was doing it, which was such a relief. And I felt like all the energy and the, like you say, warmth. It's just so beautifully relaxing. But it is important to feel safe, because otherwise your brain will kick in. Yeah. And that's why I'm really lucky. It was my auntie that did it. And now I'd probably feel a lot more relaxed doing it with like another practitioner. But yeah, it's so easy for your brain to kick you out of that stage.
Yeah, of course.
That's the only problem.
Yeah, I had that all the way through hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Very rarely did I feel like I really went under, because my brain's just going round and round.
Is it happening yet? Is it happening yet? Am I doing it right?
Exactly it.
Yeah.
Am I going under? Am I still awake? Am I here?
Yeah.
And just that is actually really stressful. Like my brain is constantly like really stressed out. I'm not really that stressed out a person. People are always surprised that everyone always thinks I'm really relaxed in that. And in many ways I am, but like internally I'm really not.
Yeah.
Internally I'm like raging all the time.
But the thing is, even like from a mindfulness point of view, being aware of that voice and noticing the fact that you are noticing that voice is kind of part of the process, and noticing that you don't have to just be the noise that you're hearing as I'm sort of speaking now. You can kind of choose to take a step back from that and say, actually, I'm going to stop listening to that bit and I'm going to kind of just do this bit, you know?
So Eckhart Tolle, who's the author of The Power of Now, which I really recommend to everyone, but also he does some audio.
Eckhart Tolle. I never know if it's Tolle. I've read that and I love it.
Yeah, it's great. So he has some really good advice on like the noise, the voice in your head. Yeah. And he says, I can't remember what it is, but I think it's observe the thinker. Yeah. So you kind of like watch yourself have these thoughts. And his thing is exactly as we kind of discussed. His thing is if you try and get yourself into a meditative state or anything like that, the more you think about it, it won't happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to try and step away from that. And one trick that he says in his Power of Now, which I find so useful, I do it all the time, is you ask yourself, what thought will I think next? And then you just wait and you find that actually it's a good few seconds before any thoughts actually come in.
I just did it then.
Yeah. And you're like, there's nothing.
No.
And then your brain will go, there's nothing. And then that's the next thought.
It's a little bit scary though, because we have to talk on this because it's a podcast.
Yeah, so don't do it now. We'll just be like silent. But that's such a good thing to like practice yourself with, right? Because it takes your thoughts out. If you think, I need to clear my mind, I need to clear my mind, I need to clear my mind, it's probably not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Until you've trained yourself, right?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So Eckhart Tolle, thoroughly recommend. That's really
cool.
good. And another bit of advice that he has, and it's kind of like, lots of people say this, but it's accept what you can't change and change what you can. And but the way he says it, which is why I recommend The Power of Now, the way he says it makes it resonate in a way that makes it a little bit more... It's a thing we all hear and say, isn't it? But he makes it kind of more possible to actually do it.
I totally agree. That's why I like him. He's got loads of stuff on YouTube, and you can watch him talking about it. He's like this little hamster fella, and he's really, really calm, and he's just like...
Yeah, he's got a beautiful voice as well, yeah.
Well, don't think about it, or, you don't have to. It's there, but you don't have to go with it. You can just... But by recognising that you're thinking that way, that's the start of not thinking that way.
Yeah.
But I find it's like not fighting him. Like if you're going, I'm thinking about killing everyone, I do think like that.
Not today though, Nick.
Yeah, not today. It's sunny Margate, not today.
That goes through my head all the time. So rather than go, right, no, I've got to fight it, I'll just go, all right, I'm thinking about killing everyone.
Yeah.
It's that whole kind of giving yourself permission, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like actually, I think as soon as you give yourself permission to be depressed or upset, then you can like give yourself permission to like, hey, get well, get better. Yeah. It's
so true,
kind of
spot on.
Yeah.
You guys come out with some great ones today.
Yeah, we should go.
We're women.
We should go, and you two should do this, definitely.
Let's do it.
It's so true. It's like, all right, I feel sad today.
Yeah.
And
just have a sad day.
And the other thing about that is
that's
it takes some of the hit out of your thoughts. So especially with anxiety, one of my CBT people said to me, like, you need to realise that your thoughts aren't powerful. Your thoughts on their own aren't going to make anything happen. Yeah. So, and if you just allow them to go and go, okay, I just thought that, that's cool. Like, it takes some of the hit out of them. Otherwise, you might think, I want to kill everyone today. Oh my God, why am I thinking that? Oh my God. Yeah. Push that down. Yeah. Now, am I an awful person? Oh my God, I'm an awful person. Whereas if you just go, okay, cool. That thought's there, but it's not powerful. It's just there.
That was like, that's the big shift that I had. It was don't fight it, it's fine.
Yeah, just a thought.
It's just a thought, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to go and kill it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, sometimes I'd like to.
Do you know what? We're human, we have all these crazy thoughts and we're allowed to. It's okay to want, I'm not going to say you want to go kill everyone, that's wrong. I'm not going to say that because Nick's just bonkers. Yeah. So we won't do that.
There's no power in the thought.
But you know what? We all have these trippy thoughts and it's okay to have them. And do you know what? Paint them.
Yeah,
I was going
get
to
back
say,
to art.
Clearing the mind
them.
down, normally leads to creativity. It kind of frees up some space.
Yeah.
And then, like for me, I go straight to music straight away. So as soon as I start to feel that sort of bit, I'll either normally it's sort of stress to get all the gear out, but I'll just reach for headphones, or whatever, and then the creativity just sort of kicks back in again. It's amazing. It's like opening a tap almost, or like the floodgates. Get rid of all of the
release valve.
At least for a little while, and then just go from there.
Yeah, I just do creative stuff all day basically now. I kind of roughly do my job, but around that, even in work, I'm quite often drawing. So just because it's like, well, that stuff makes me sane.
I like the fact that you draw all the time. Like even when we're doing the podcast, because he can't keep still. We do the podcast and he'll be sitting there sort of drawing and doodling. And he did those videos the other day, the time-lapse ones of you etching and sketching. And that.
Yeah, they were great.
And some of your pictures are for sale today, Nick.
Yes, yay.
Well, yeah, no, but the thing is, the way I do it is I don't really think about what I'm doing. I just start drawing.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like coming from somewhere else. And I find that really cathartic. But basically everything's really dark and scary. So it's all those kind of, crap just coming out onto a page. And it's like, well, at least I'm doing something with it. The thing is, like, with doing the podcast as well, it's like turning that bad thing into something good.
Yeah.
And it's just totally worked.
It has.
Yeah, and your hobby doesn't have to be something that makes you happy. It can be, but it can also be a cathartic thing. Where actually, maybe when you're drawing, you are really angry, or you are crying when you're doing it, or you're singing, or you're playing music, and you're crying, but you're letting it out. It doesn't have to be, oh, that makes me happy all the time, therefore that's the best hobby.
I'm just gonna go and do this.
You need a balance, right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and Eddie Temple Morris was saying everything's a balance, and it's so true.
It is.
Your life is a real balance, and if you get the balance right, then you're doing all right generally.
Yeah, because it's hard. I think, people need to accept that it's hard. And when you kind of think, okay, life is really challenging, as soon as you accept that and you accept that, life isn't supposed to be easy, it's not easy for anyone, you let yourself off the hook a little bit.
Yeah. I always say to people, just be nice to yourself. All right, you're having a really shit time, but be nice to yourself within that. You haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
So all the time you're punishing yourself, you're actually just making it worse, and it goes nowhere. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help you. Just be nice to yourself.
Yeah,
let
and
yourself
each other.
Off, as you said, let yourself off the hook. I think it's really important.
If you need a day in bed wallowing, have that day in bed wallowing. Don't spend it feeling guilty. Oh, I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. Again, this is at Cantom again. If you need that, then fully be in that. Fully relax as much as you can. Don't guilt trip yourself. That is what your body needs. So do it.
Yeah,
and that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, it is.
There is talk of companies having mental health days.
Yeah.
Mind days, I think they're calling them, which is amazing. Imagine just being able to ring up and go, no, I'm having a duvet day today, and that's it.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, I need to make this excuse of oh, my cat's broken its leg or whatever.
I need to make an excuse that's physical. I can't possibly say I'm too anxious or too depressed to go in today.
And I like to think, hopefully, that's coming from the awareness of it. And I'm not maybe on a smaller scale, but certainly on a larger scale, it seems that some of the bigger companies, Google's got slides and beanbags and stuff in.
Oh, that's amazing.
See, I had this occurrence, last year when I was off for ages. I just decided, no, I'm just going mad. I need to take time off. And then I realised that initially I was like, I can't take any more time off. I've had so much time off sick. But I had the realisation that actually I wasn't ill. I was ill, but I wasn't physically ill. I was just mentally ill. And that's why I was always having time off. And then when I kind of just thought, I'm just not going to apologise for it.
No, because that makes it worse. It makes it worse,
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologise for it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't now.
It is inspiring to be able to just do it and say it.
One of the things I do or say to John, my partner, sometimes, we might get the opportunity to have a babysitter and get a proper night out, like going out.
That's gold dust when you've got kids,
it's gold
right?
dust. But then I'll just, like you with anxiety, I'll just go, no, I can't. It's too peoply out there. I can't. It's too. No, I can't do it. Can't do people. I can't. And he's like, well, we're going out. Let's go. Let's just take advantage. And it's like, no, I can't.
It's like, oh, we've got to go out and we've got to have a good time.
This is our window.
Yeah.
We've got to have a good time, and that just builds up the anxiety. And quite often, I'm exactly the same. I'm like, I just want to stay in.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's do you know what? That's okay.
That's okay.
It's just sort of like
because next time you might want to go out.
Yeah, exactly.
You might not. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially with the kids as well.
Yeah.
They suck the life out of you.
Love them though.
Love them to bits. Yeah, one of them's here. He's hiding, I think. He's disappeared.
Met him earlier. He's lovely.
He's a good boy. He's come out to serve drinks and cakes, and he really didn't want to, but he did it for me. Bless him.
Good for him.
Yeah, good boy.
Yeah, we had a good chat about Banksy a minute ago. So we were looking at some of the art and that, so
we were recently in Amsterdam. We saw a really rocking Banksy exhibition, and so he's inspired. He's inspired. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's great great when you see stuff that really inspires you as well. We all need lifting, don't we?
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
what I like about Instagram. Just because it's just full up of good images, and I won't know what to draw, or I'll be kind of stuck, and I'll just flick through my phone.
And you haven't got to think about it, have you?
Yeah.
You haven't got to read it or concentrate on it. You can just swipe through.
You just take it in.
Yeah, you just take it in. It's just, oh, that's nice. All that, like that. It does get a bit boring though when you just press like to everything.
Yeah,
it's sort of like, oh, this is a bit
you
now.
find yourself sort of scrolling through.
Yeah, it's a balance, isn't it, between not just catching yourself when you're just scrolling for something to do.
Yeah.
It's funny though, I guess I've kind of come to this conclusion that you just don't need to think as much as you do.
No.
You don't really need to think that much. Like, life kind of takes care of itself in many ways, and like, a lot of the time you think about stuff so much that you get yourself into a state. Like, I've never had like serious anxiety, but I have had periods when I have had anxiety, and that is just purely because I've got 100 things going on at once. Like, that was when my wife was ill. And there's so many worries and concerns that I was almost talking myself into like kind of to anxiety. And then I just realised that actually I can't do fuck all about any of it. Like, and that's like Eckhart Tolle says that, is that you can't actually do anything about any of it. So why worry about it?
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do, but I've kind of over just practice and doing. I kind of got to the point where I just don't worry about it.
You have to practice.
You have to do it
I think
all
that's the
time.
key, because it's easy to get put off it when you go, oh, that doesn't work for me, I'm still worrying. You have to practice. It's like any muscle in your body, you have to like get it into a certain rhythm and open up certain pathways in the brain, and then it will become more naturally.
Yeah, you kind of get to a point though when you find yourself going, thinking about something, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to do that. And I find now, I'm like, it's like a song comes on that reminds me of dark days or something, and it doesn't just take me straight back there. Like now, it's just kind of natural. I just think like in a more kind of helpful way.
Yeah, it's there. I acknowledge it's there. It's brought up those feelings, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not going to necessarily affect me. Yeah.
I'm terrible at the moment, the worrying. You told me off for worrying the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, I just don't know. I know you've got like grief and there's stuff going on, but essentially, most of it you can't do any more than you're doing. So it's like.
Yeah, but it's a really hard thing to
it?
accept, isn't it?
It
It's
is
really hard.
really hard. Completely. It's really hard not to worry about stuff, but essentially, you're worrying about stuff you can do nothing about.
No, that's true.
And it's like. That's the stoic thing, isn't it?
It's just, one of the things that sprung to my mind is thinking about my nan, actually, with her, with sayings and things like, there's the saying, don't cry over spilt milk.
Yeah.
It's just so simple. And when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, actually, we can't do anything about it. It's happened. Crying over it isn't going to change the situation.
No.
It's not is anymore. It's was, it's gone. And it's just, there's so much power in those little nuggets of what people say in sayings. I love it. It's just...
The nuggets in those sayings I think, are totally the key.
Yeah.
There isn't anything much.
We need to bring them back or make some new ones.
Yeah.
We should make some new ones. We should end on having a new one.
What would we do? Like, it's got to be something like, don't spend any more than 4 minutes scrolling through Instagram, because you'll never look as good as me in a bikini or whatever.
I just like, you don't have to listen to your brain. That's my favourite. It's like your brain's not in charge.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to it, because your brain's just going to tell you everything's awful and you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, no, I'm not, mate.
Yeah.
Screw your brain. It don't matter.
Sorry, I was just going to say, find your way of keeping your brain quiet. Like I said, I spent years and years and years like consciously going, don't think that, right, clear your mind. And that's why none of this stuff ever worked for me. And I'd go and I'd do it dutifully, but it never worked for me. And CBT was great, but only to a point, and then I couldn't see the point in it anymore. But it's only at Cantalm and like watching myself thinking that's actually made me be able to manage that. So don't give up is what I'd say. Find what helps you quiet your brain. It might not be the same as someone else's.
Yep, totally agree.
It's really cool to be able to talk about it, because I have the conversations in my head where it's kind of like, oh, I must be really insane. There's something wrong. Like, I'm having this conversation in my head, but you're actually talking about it, which is cool. So it's like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm not so crazy then. It's just, it's nice to know that.
Verbalising things out loud. Like sometimes that's all you need to do, just say it out loud to another person. They don't even have to be completely listening.
No,
But by saying the things out loud, I find that I have psychotherapy every Monday morning, and just going there, sometimes just by saying something out loud, like as I'm saying it, I'm like, that's actually I'm totally wrong on that.
And forgiving yourself for it as well, and being sort of humble and saying, I'm up for making a mistake with whatever I'm saying, which again isn't always an easy thing to do, but having people you can talk to like that, which is obviously good, like with therapy, but being able to be open and that honest, to be able to go, I'm just going to say this thing, it might be weird or odd or whatever, but it's fine, I've just said it, it's gone, and it is what it is.
Because your brain's like a pinball machine, and there's so many different things, and like we said before, thoughts come to us, and they're not necessarily anything we'd ever want to act on, but thoughts happen. And it's the same as if you're doing a creative project, like I'm sure like with all this. Your idea might be great, but as soon as you've vocalised it and bounced it around a few times, you'll figure out, okay, well, is that viable? Has anyone got any good things to add to that? And it's exactly the same with like feelings. Like you said, you say it out loud and straight away you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that's maybe not as rational as it felt in my brain. And someone else saying to you, okay, well, here's why it might not seem rational to me. It's like anything, bouncing those ideas round between brains is always so much better than in your little capsule by itself.
You're going to be wrong.
You're going to be wrong sometimes, yeah.
Like I wake up from, like when I wake up in the morning, that little bit of space between being asleep and being awake, and then I'll be like, I know, I'm going to open a jelly bean shop, and like everyone's going to come down. Like your brain's like, I'm going to wake someone up, I need to write notes and everything like that. And then literally about half hour later, and you're busy with your day, and you think, what was I thinking of?
Yeah,
no one's actually come to that. Like, I don't even know anything about them, and like you start sort of processing.
I don't even like jelly beans.
But at the time, your brain's like, this is such a good idea. Like, we should do this and we should do that. But I suppose that is the creative flow. Your body's not worrying about anything else, even standing up. So it's allowing your brain's allowing itself to just go, I know, we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah, well, I found out recently, which really surprised me, because I always thought that you were most creative when you were the most awake, and that's kind of, I think, quite a common conception, which may or may not be true, but the recent research that I've read suggests that you're most creative when you're really tired, because your brain doesn't like object to things as much. It won't go, oh no, that's a bad idea. It will just let things run out.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like worn down, like, go on, do what you want.
It hasn't quite woken up enough to be like, jelly beans?
Yeah, really? You should have done it. You should have acted on it.
Yeah. Imagine that. You could be looking at like
jelly beans. So don't ignore yourself when you're tired.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like, be creative, write some things down. You'll find less resistance to it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Actually, Nick, that's just reminded me. Do you remember a tutor at art college, Robin? I can't remember his last name. I was going through a tough time, and I was struggling with my work. And one of the things he actually said to me was to take a sketchbook to bed. He said, if you think of something, wake up and draw it. And I was thinking, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to disturb myself. But actually, my best work happened when I was like, going off to sleep, winding down, or waking up going, oh yes, brilliant. In the morning time, I'd look at it and go, what the hell is this? But then it actually did end up in my work, and I actually, improved my practice. So that's quite interesting. Take a book to bed.
I always draw in the evenings and when I'm knackered, and I think that's when my head's the most clear. And like when I was studying, I always did it really late at night.
Yeah, I'm the
I never
same.
used to sleep very well.
Yeah.
I do now, but I never used to. So I used to do everything really late at night. And like in the daytime was a waste of time for me.
Yeah.
Never got anything done. I just used to get really stoned.
I remember it. Yeah.
Which was all right.
Yeah. Where's Nick? He's busy. He'll be here later.
I used to get up when I was at university. I used to get up about 12, and then stumble about, go home, get stoned, and maybe do some stuff in the evening. Like drinking.
Just to break it up a bit.
Yeah. I was a real heavy drinker then, though, and I stayed a heavy drinker for the
I think that's a big thing, though, isn't it? At college, at university, it's just, when we were there, we used to have pound a pint nights. Do you remember that? Oh, that was just lethal.
Yeah,
that was just absolutely lethal. It's just like...
I was such a snob, I'm not drinking Miller. I want Stella. I want to get scratched. I don't want to get violently drunk. I'm always so self-destructive. I'm myself to death. That's why I did it. So I'd always go to the health license.
It's a rite of passage with uni and college, though, isn't it? I guess just all part of it.
That's the thing, right? Because it wasn't. It was just me being self-destructive. That's what I realised later on. It weren't just me. It's like, oh, it's rock and roll. You know, I'm in a band, I've got to get trashed all the time. And then I kind of realised that later on, like when I stopped drinking so much, was that no, it wasn't rite of passage. I was ill.
Wow, yeah.
You know, I was drinking to escape my brain and trying to destroy myself, basically trying to kill myself slowly without having the balls to actually do it. So it's like, I'll ruin my body, and then it will do the job for me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the environment you were in kind of masked that, because it was, it's a place where everyone does drink a lot, and lots of people do drink a lot. So you were able to normalise that. And you didn't feel the need to be self-reflective because everyone's doing it. That's quite a scary thought, isn't it? That, like, there could be loads of people at uni kind of going through the same thing, and it's masked by the fact that they're in that scenario.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of difference between people kind of drinking to have fun and then that's it. Like, I was drinking every day. I would quite happily just sit indoors, watch films and drink loads of booze. 4 cans. But I had one night when I was in my house at university. Everyone had gone away for the weekend. I stayed indoors and just drank bottles of like super lager, like the really strong stuff. Just blows your head off.
Oh, like Tenants.
Yeah. Like, it's so gross, it's so hard to get down, but I'm like, it's gonna get down. Watching The Shining and just scaring myself to death. That film scares me so bad.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I just drink myself to sleep. I used to do that. I did that for 10 years.
Wow.
That's bad, isn't it?
Solid.
And what about now? How's you drinking now?
I only drink at the weekends. I tend to. That still goes through my head. I'm still like, I've got to drink until I got to go to sleep.
Mine's sleep. It's just if I sleep or or just it's sort of. I just want to sleep because it's like, you've escaped, haven't you? You've switched off, you've gone, you're in another world completely. But I just kind of, if I find things too overwhelming, it's just like, I need to go to bed. I need to, there's too much going on. I need to shut down. And, thankfully, I've not had to, turn to drink or anything. I went through a stage of self-harming when I was at school, which was... it was really horrible. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 10, 11, didn't really realise why I was doing it or what I was doing. And then it kind of stopped, and then it happened again in my adult life. I was unfortunate, had miscarriages, and I started doing it again. But it's weird when you're in that kind of self-destructive phase.
It doesn't feel strange.
It doesn't, no. And there's a real comfort in it, which is kind of, and it's an addictive comfort. So, like, I guess on the same way that alcohol was your crutch, for me, it was self-harming.
I've hurt myself. I used to put fags out of my arms and things like that. And I think essentially what I was saying was, like, you deserve this. You're so shit that you deserve it. And then realising, and it has only been in the last year or so when I think, actually, I don't think I am that shit, I don't deserve it. And things have really changed, but I think like that was my bit at the time. It's like, wow, the pain is, I deserve the pain, so the pain was quite nice. And it's like, you're so shit, you might as well. There's a happy thought.
It's good, isn't it? We're all happy here in sunny Margate.
It's all good. But it's important to talk about these things. It's important to talk about these things.
It needs to be spoken about.
Because someone else might be going through it right now.
Exactly.
And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's hard to see it. But hearing people talk about it and talk about how they've come through it does make you realise there is a light.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we always try and get the episodes to a point of, suggestions about ways we can deal with it and actually that we can get through it. Because you do get through it, you get through it every day. You know, the fact that you're alive means that you're winning.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Like,
Every
and
day.
the thing is, like, it is miserable shit, but like I don't feel miserable talking about it particularly because it's like, well, that was me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like I do have days when I go back to it, but it's not me anymore, really.
Yeah.
But I do, you know, like every few months, I'll do like what you said. I'll pretty much sleep for 2 days, and I just, for some reason, I really need that.
Yeah.
But it's your body saying to you,
Your body telling you need it.
you've had enough. You need to shut down, and you've got to allow yourself to do that. And I think that's one of the key things is going back to the whole permission thing.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself permission and say, do you know what? It's all right to have bad thoughts. It's okay to feel shit and lock people out, and you're allowed to. We're human beings, and to talk about it as well. You know, but I didn't know I was going to talk about all this shit today. But
you've been
you
open
know,
to it,
if it's helped one person, then it's awesome. I've done the right thing.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
And I'll tell you what, it is helping. Because we're getting so much feedback from people saying it is helping.
It's crazy.
It's
It
like
is.
talking
It's
people
just-
back off a bridge.
It really
in
is.
ways.
It really
And
is.
It clearly is helping. So everything you're saying will be helping people.
Yeah.
Right now.
It is just like, it's such a it seems like such a personal thing when you're going through it, and you start to think to yourself, well, no one else could be possibly going through this because it's in my head, and no one else has got my dad, my mum, or this hasn't happened to me, or anything else. But when you just hear, like, it could be that one little sentence or that one word that suggests that someone's gone through something slightly the same,
Yeah,
and then you're like, oh, actually, I can talk about this, or I can listen to about it. And like, the podcasts are great for that because you could literally type in stuff in the search bar, and I guarantee you'll find something that you're looking for, or whatever you're searching for, or there'll be a rabbit hole. So it'll be a particular person, even if it's like a band that you like, or whatever, you like them, they might appear on like a mental health podcast, and then before you know it, you're kind of in this little kind of journey of sort of helping yourself, really, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Getting better.
I think, you know, I feel quite passionately about what Nick and Brad are doing, you know, to further on, you know, collaborating together. And I think it's important for mental health to be talked about in different spaces, in different environments, with different businesses, colleges, you know, whatever. You need to open the doors, and, you know, why can't artists collaborate on important topics, you know, in a fun manner? I hope this has been fun. It's all gone a bit dark,
that's
but
what it's about,
you know,
though.
I think it's just, I think it's important that, you know, we talk about it in different spaces. You know, that you're not in a doctor's office or in a therapy situation. That it can be in a, you know, falling apart old Woolworths building, soon to be, well, it is already an amazing art school, and it's going to, you know, further go on to be that. And, you know, why not use these spaces? Why
Absolutely.
not, you know,
Use it to reach people.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
you know,
it's just talking at the end of the day, isn't it? And I just think, like, normally people are quite frightened about going to the doctors, or they're frightened about seeing a therapist. When essentially, often, unless you're really ill, like, you know, there's been times when that wouldn't have done it for me, but, you know, often it is just about telling someone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be a professional, because the professional element is the scary bit.
Yeah.
You know, and like, hopefully you've got friends you can talk to. I don't think I barely ever talk to my friends about stuff like this, though.
Not really, unless they kind of led on to thinking maybe in a similar sort of light, and that's where, like, maybe TV's kind of good, because someone might say, "Oh, just see that thing on TV," and then you can be like, "Oh, I kind of felt like that," and then they might go, "Oh yeah, me too." But there's never there's never an ideal time to talk about it.
That's exactly
It just sort
right.
of come out. But the thing to get across is always talk to someone, because from what we've seen and people that we're talking to, and they felt like they really can't talk to anyone else, but they're messaging and emailing us, which is nuts.
it's
Like, look at
brilliant.
him.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but that is enough. fix for someone.
Yeah.
And that is all it is. Like,
It's
and-
enough, or it's a starting point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be... sorry, I won't mugged you off then, didn't I? It doesn't have to be like a whole, like, oh, I'm going to go and do the doctors and everything else. It could be a simple text message to someone that you haven't spoken to for ages.
Yeah.
Or, like, liking someone's post on Instagram or Facebook, and then they say, oh, I haven't seen you for ages, and, like, sparking up a conversation.
Yeah.
How you been? Oh, actually, I haven't been that well. Oh, me too. And then, like,
Yeah.
going from there. It doesn't have to be such a big thing.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like the fact that you said that, because it's like social media doesn't need to be a nightmare.
No.
Like, you can use it for good things, and you can reach out to people. I found, like, since we've been doing this, like, people I've spoken to for years would be going like, oh yeah, I've had real problems with anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, I never knew.
Yeah.
And then people have said to me, I never knew with me.
No.
And I'm like, yes. 'cause
We're
I'm
really
not
good at
about it.
hiding it.
Yeah.
We're all really good at hiding
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean, I used to think Nick was just, you know, a pothead rock and roll star
Yeah,
at
well.
college. And that was
I'll give you
it.
that idea.
But, you know, it's because of social media. We can either love it or hate it. It's a bit like Marmite. I love that. It's a bit like
yeah.
you know, I wouldn't have got in contact with Nick. It's only because I saw what he was doing. I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's Nick Noyes
Exactly.
from
Yeah.
college. What the fuck? Okay. And then it's like, you know, when he started talking about mental health and that, it's like, oh, he wasn't actually a rock and roll star. He was a pothead. He
It
was
all makes
ill.
sense, yeah.
It makes
Like,
sense.
No,
No, I wasn't. That's exactly right, though. But yeah, most people just don't know. But yeah, everyone's really.
well, we're on the curve, I think,
know.
with social media, from kind of not MySpace so much, but definitely Facebook and Instagram. That's the hour. But keep going. Everyone has got this pretense this sort of facade to hold up. So people will only put on the good pictures and
course.
the holidays.
Yeah.
And that makes everyone else feel like shit.
You scroll
Yeah.
through and like, this person's been on holiday like every week or whatever. Where lo and behold,
Yeah.
they've been on one holiday a year and they just put a different picture on every week.
Yeah.
And I guarantee every person that you think is doing that is, you know, they've got something going on every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Everyone's fighting battles, aren't
Yeah,
they?
definitely.
Well, it's funny though. I think people, like, if they feel if they elevate themselves publicly, then they will somehow elevate them internally.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it don't work like that.
No.
What's been nice for us doing this
That's
is
cool.
I'm reversing it, because I was guilty of doing that for a long time. Not to an extreme, but I would definitely be selective over what I was putting on there. And now doing the reverse and not caring so much.
Yeah.
It feels so much more freeing and open.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more of an honest reflection of who I actually am, kind of thing. Not so much. There's still the odd Instagram food thing on there or whatever, but it was nice food, so whatever.
Well, I think that's about it.
That was
Awesome.
That was a really,
just
really quick hour.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Cool having you on. It really is. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you. We have to take a picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do a nice photo. And we're gonna go
Selfies,
and-
put on
We'll
Instagram.
go and look at some art, and I want a cake and a drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to smoke a fag. And
Have we got one time for me to just say one closing thought?
Yes, please
Because
do.
it's something you said earlier about life isn't easy. If you're still here, you're winning.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share this tiny little story that completely
go on.
changed how I
Go for
looked.
it.
When you have anxiety or depression, you kind of think of yourself as being quite weak. Often. And I was working in a local tourist attraction. It's quite a scary attraction to go into. So this kid really didn't want to go in. He was really scared. And his mum was like really patiently trying to coax him in, and he decided he didn't want to go. Anyway, this was not what I expected her to say, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing. She turned to me and she said, he's the bravest kid I've ever met. He's scared of everything, but he does it anyway. And I was like,
Nice.
oh my God, how beautiful is that? That she doesn't go, oh, he's a wimp, he's scared of everything. She goes, he is so brave because he's scared of everything. And I thought, I'm going to see myself like that. Let's all see ourselves like that. We are so brave for dealing with this stuff and still getting up every morning and still going to work or still looking after the kids. And like, that makes you so brave. And I think it's really important people see themselves as that and not weak.
I love that. I'm taking
Yeah.
that.
I know, isn't it beautiful? I was like,
so
what a
good.
beautiful moment.
so true.
That is
Yeah.
We needed a nugget, didn't we? I
Yeah.
said to
A little-
him, we
little-
need a
little
little
nugget.
saying, a
That's
little
a nugget.
something.
That's
That's
what we
cool.
like. That's exactly what
Yeah.
we like.
That's exactly what we
That's
want.
what we're always looking for. ladies and gentlemen. And I think we have quite a few in this one, so thank
But yeah,
you.
thank you so much.
Thanks
That
for
was
having us.
amazing.
Thank you.
Everybody clap.
Right.
I want a cake.
Right.